Apple says this iPad Pro is the ultimate PC replacement, but what are you going to do if you want that sort of power in a smaller package? Well, in that case, you look at the new iPad Pro with a 9.7-inch display that makes it basically the heir apparent both to the iPad Pro and last year's iPad Air 2. Let's take a closer look. So let's get personal for a second. I bought an iPad Air 2 in Hong Kong, and I loved it. But then I started playing with an iPad Pro, and I couldn't really use it anymore. It put me in a weird position. Here's a form factor and a design that I love, but it just doesn't give me the performance I actually wanted. That's where the new 9.7-inch iPad Pro comes into play. It takes basically everything we liked about the full-size iPad Pro and squeezes it into the body of an iPad Air 2. It's exactly what I've wanted, and maybe it'll fit the bill for you too. I hate to be reductive, but just about everything in the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is here in the 9.7-inch iPad Pro. A9X chipset is here. 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 3 storage tiers, including a 256 gigabyte option. The one major inclusion here is a 12 megapixel camera. It's basically the one we have in the iPhone 6s. It's been plopped into the back of the iPad Pro, and it does also have that telltale bump. Obviously, you're not going to be sticking this thing in your pocket, so you're never going to feel it, but it is something to keep in mind when you lay the iPad on its back. The Touch ID sensor is here too, as are the 4 speakers etched into each corner of the iPad, which, by the way, sounds fantastic. Really, I can't overstate how fast this iPad Pro is, even though it really shouldn't be a surprise considering how fast the last one was. Apple calls these things ultimate PC replacements, and it's not a bad way to look at them, except when you're trying to be productive on this smaller model, and that's because the smart keyboard that Apple sells for the 9.7-inch iPad Pro is obviously significantly smaller. Your keys are smaller, which means you're going to have a tougher time typing without making mistakes. On the plus side though, the Apple Pencil, which worked phenomenally the first time around, still works phenomenally here. The new iPad Pro screen is also really nicely saturated and does pick up a new trick. It's called True Tone, and basically what it does is automatically change the color temperature of your screen depending on your surrounding light. So if you're in a room with very yellow light, whites as they appear on your iPad Pro will actually not be exactly white, but they'll still look better to you than regular white would. We're going to need to spend some more time with this thing before we pass judgment, but one thing is clear, this is a fantastic tablet. What isn't clear, though, is what this means for the future of other iPads. The iPad Air 2 just got a price drop. Does this mean we're going to see the end of the Air line, or is it just going to be Apple's introductory iPad brand? It'll be a while before we find out, so stay tuned as we continue to learn more.